some shots. They're cheap. VKs, yeah.
How much did you spend on drinks?
We can have a look. Should I have a look? 10, 20, 30, 40, add 30.
70
quid! Students love drinking, even more so at uni, with almost 70% of us admitting to drinking more excessively away from home. I want to find out why so many of us view student life as an outlet to obsessive drinking and how it affects our experiences here.
So at pre-drinks, I think I would drink a bottle of wine.
I generally like to start the night with 2 pints of beer.
2 or 3 cans/pints.
I'd start tame. I'd have like a pint of cider or something. So let's pour that in there.
When I'm out, I would do maybe like 4 shots.
2-3 shots.
A double vodka and like lemonade or something.
And then maybe just a few shots of tequila.
And then I might have a beer as well, or like a VK.
I would most likely then have some form of alcohol pop. I think then I'd end up topping it off with a shot.
But it depends on the kind of night
Okay.
that I'm going on.
Obviously, students going on a night out like to have a lot to drink, but where did this tradition come from?
The key kind of change occurring is that areas are coming to be increasingly dominated by student populations. In turn, this tends to attract certain kinds of bars and clubs, many of which have student deals and promotional offers on. And there has always been the allegation that this encourages a particular kind of binge drinking.
Bar crawls are particularly popular amongst students. However, due to their nature, they do seem to promote a binge drinking culture.
If you search like a generic list of bar crawls in the UK, Otley Run will be on that list.
The Otley Run is Leeds' most famous bar crawl, with over 20 pubs running from Headingley to the city centre. The Library pub is a favourite on the Otley Run. However, the manager Sean says it often doesn't end very well.
The idea is you do a drink at every pub, you get to the end, you get to dry dock, and that's the end of it. That's the end of the Otley Run, and then you'll find a lot of students either go home or go out afterwards. By the time they get here, they're in a pretty bad way. It's so common in Leeds, it's done all the time, and it's quite popular across the board. You get a lot of students that everyone wants to do it because it's literally like, say people live in Hyde Park or Meanwood or Headingley, it's right on their doorstep, so they're gonna give it a go every now and again.
With the Otley Run a social staple for many students in Leeds, let's find out what a student's typical alcohol intake is on a night out.
That's just over 2 pints, but in wine and vodka. Pints, shots, tequila and Jaeger bombs. Have you ever considered how many units is in all this compared to the daily recommended amount of units?
No, I've literally never thought about how many units I should be drinking and how much I do on a night out.
And would you like to find that out?
Not really, no.
Well, let's have a look. Your average night out is 9.5 units, 11 units.
Yeah.
Your average bottle of wine, there's 9 units. In your 4 shots, there's 4 units, so that's 13. Plus your alcopop is 1.5. So that comes to, in one night out, 14.5 units. On a night out, you're drinking, on average, 14 units. However, some of the measures you poured yourself did sort of imply maybe you're drinking a bit more than you realise. So the weekly recommended guidelines is actually 14 units of alcohol, but they suggest that that's spread over 3 nights.
I have a heavy tolerance for alcohol, so I tend to just keep drinking because I'm not feeling it, which is bad.
That's quite a lot, and especially if that's not my only night out of the week. Sometimes I can go out 2 or 3 nights in a week, so it would be a lot more than expected.
Lads, when they're drunk, create a very awkward problem because they don't listen to you. Some become very aggressive, that sort of thing. So they're always in a pretty bad state when they get here.
Despite this, for the pubs on the Otley Run, the benefits seem to outweigh the problems.
If we didn't have Otley Runs, we wouldn't be in business at the end of the day. And most of our trade, I'd say, easily a fair chunk of our trade comes from a Saturday. From Otley Runs and things like that. Don't get me wrong, we like being a part of that culture. We like being involved in that. We just don't like seeing it when students have come to the bar and they're too gone.
Even so, excessive drinking can sometimes be used to distract from deeper problems. But Alcohol Awareness Service Forward Leeds says it's important to speak out and get help.
Most importantly, I think, is have an honest conversation about yourself. So we have a remarkable capacity to kind of fool ourselves. But if we sit down and have that honest conversation with ourselves, you know, write it down on a piece of paper, what am I getting from my drinking, what are the downsides of it, then that will usually give you a guide as to whether you perhaps might need some support.
However, fewer and fewer students are drinking alcohol excessively.
One of the things we're finding within the UK is that young people are less likely to drink as much as people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, etc. And this is arguably the first time we've seen this reversing, this decline, whereby young people are drinking less than older people.
This has led to the creation of alcohol-free societies such as High on Life. We went down to join them on one of their socials bowling.
In Freshers Week, as a non-drinker, I felt really isolated. Like, all my friends were going out every night clubbing. I was questioning like my decision to come to uni. I was like, well, if I don't drink, I'm not going to fit in here. I'm not going to find any friends. And I knew from like Facebook groups and stuff that there were other non-drinkers out there, but there was nowhere for us to like all come together and unite. So then me and my friend Emily decided to create a society around the culture of not drinking. I
don't tend to drink at university because I just don't like the pressure that's put on. That was what shocked me coming to uni, that even societies which are completely unrelated to drinking in any way, like their regular socials, were going clubbing, and that wasn't really my thing.
For me, being disabled, being blind, it's really important for me to know exactly where I am, exactly who I'm with. And now I only really drink around people that I fully trust, because I've been in a couple of situations which haven't been very pleasant, and I don't want me to repeat them, and I don't want other people to be in that vulnerable state.
What kind of situations are you talking about?
Mostly to do with people trying to physically take advantage of me, and also people leaving me in situations where I didn't feel safe and where I was potentially at risk. As much as I know I can keep myself safe, I wanted to make sure that I was doing everything possible to.
Do you feel like that culture is accepted here of not drinking?
No. I think to a certain extent in this society, and just generally, not drinking is now accepted more than it was, but there is definitely an expectation to drink, and if you aren't drinking for whatever reason, you do get questioned a lot, and you do get asked why, or you get told that you should, or oh, just have one glass, it's going to be fine, when, you know, even if yes, I do drink on occasion, I don't want to be pressured into doing that.
There is no question that alcohol still plays a large part of campus life. But with more and more students turning away from alcohol, is this the start of a transition away from the stereotypical student culture? If you've been affected by any of the issues raised in this documentary, follow the links on screen.